peace
Okay.
and harmony. But the methodology could be different of how we get there based on Taekwondo versus Aikido versus Kung Fu. You know what
Well,
I'm talking about?
I'm back and I'm live tonight. So look, what we're going to talk about tonight is your affiliation more important than your membership? I'm going to cut this around. There you go. You have to flip that. Device rotation. How's my device rotation? Anyway, I got to hold this up. Hold on. I'm trying to find this. Look, brothers, look. I know this tonight I'm out. I'm having a good time, a little fellowship, a little luncheon. So look, tonight we're going to talk about, is your affiliation more important than your membership? And I'm here tonight. Just picked my large brother up from the airport, so I don't know how long we're going to be on here tonight. But, you know, that's just something to think about. You know, when you are a Mason or an Eastern Star or a part of any other organization, is your affiliation more important than you being a part of the craft? Because the craft is a lot bigger than where you're at. So that's something I hope that we all would think about tonight as we get into this topic. And tonight, my guest is going to be the one and only Christopher Hurd from Hosea Lodge number 7 under John G. Jones. So, Brother Hurd, welcome aboard.
Brothers, how y'all doing?
We trying to make this thing fit. We don't know how this is gonna work tonight, but we trying to get it in. I think that's gonna work. Go ahead.
Okay. That's a great question. In my humble opinion, as I look at that, I'm just gonna draw
I don't want to interrupt, but I hope you've been all right, my guy. It's good to see you again.
to see you.
All right.
I'm just gonna say that in martial arts, there is an ideology and there is methodology. The ideology usually behind martial arts in general is that there's self-discipline and there is self-defense. But the methodology is different between Taekwondo versus Kung Fu versus Judo versus Aikido.
Yeah, let me get the original Grand Slam.
How do you like your answer?
Scramble.
Cheese on your answer?
No.
Okay. And for you?
2 eggs.
Good scramble?
That'll be good.
That'll be good.
Thank you, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And pardon me for the interruption there, but in short, I believe that over time, as we go back and look at the origination of the membership and the affiliations, we may find that the membership was hinged more in ideology and the affiliations were catered more so for methodology. And the reason we know that this may be possible because you can agree that our ideology as far as brothers having a brotherly relationship and looking to the process of making good men better is a general ideology that carries throughout all countries.
But besides that, so where do you think make Freemasonry fit into all of this? I mean, when you look at the ideal of the various different affiliations of membership in Freemasonry, where does that fit in at? Because when we think of Freemasonry, people of Black people in general like to divide themselves up into these various affiliations, and they take more pride in the affiliation than they do Freemasonry. So where does that fit into play at?
That's a great question because I was speaking with a well-known white brother in California. I think he was a past master down here in the San Diego La Jolla area. But one of the unique things that I remember bumping into him saying was that he said, "Are you Prince Hall?" And I was like, "No." He said, "Are you?" I forgot what.
Scottish Rite?
Yeah, he asked one other question, but then all of a sudden, he just said he cut off and he says, "Well, it doesn't matter." He says, "You're a brother. You're a Mason." And I noticed when he said that and we rolled right on with the conversation, and we had a great time. We were in the hospital talking, and then I remember I think I called you and told you about that afterwards. I was like, how we had a great conversation afterwards, and it was just a great relationship. And then of course afterwards, then we exchanged handshakes, and I was saying, like, this it was just a brotherly relationship.
But what do you think that comes from? What do you think the ideal of this, my affiliation versus your affiliation, comes from? Because I see a lot of brothers like to put more emphasis on their affiliation versus the fact that they are a Mason. Just like some sisters, but not all sisters, do the same thing. They put more emphasis on the fact of their affiliation versus the fact that they are part of the craft.
Well, I'll be honest with you. In my past experience, I have found that it does not stop with affiliation. I have found that goes with relationships. That goes with just black on black relationships. One person can be affiliated with one thing, and another person affiliated with another thing, and because you're not like me, and therefore, and I hate to say it, but this mentality of not coming together on an ideology or allowing the methodology to disintegrate the ideology, that my affiliation is more important than my membership. It basically, the way I look at it, is a Willie Lynch. It's a product of the Willie Lynch mentality.
So,
that is,
so my
you know what I'm talking about when I say the Willie Lynch mentality?
Oh yeah, I definitely understand you talking about the Willie Lynch.
So
mentality.
it was that whole thing where they said we're going to pit people one against the other, so there'll never be peace among themselves.
So why do you think we continue to perpetrate the same thing? We already know the ideology. We already know the playbook. We literally know the playbook, but we continue to do the same thing over and over again versus transforming the playbook and using it to our advantage. Because just like a wolf pack, just like a pack of dogs that run together, and you have this one lead dog who makes the path for the rest of them. And when they hunt together in a pack, rather than like most animals who like the lions or the lion, when they go out on their own and they chase and they bring back. So I'm just looking at it from that point of view. What is it going to take for us to understand the playbook? I mean, it's the same playbook. The playbook hasn't changed, but yet we still do that to ourselves.
That's a mindset that is based in and rooted in self-esteem. And I think that once we rise above the idea that I am elevated or I am diminished in some form of fashion for some reason, then once we get to the point that we're here for a purpose and the purpose is shared, it's the same. I said, because you know what, this is the interesting thing. I was noticing that the same argument that people would have, oh, these people are clandestine. I said, well, it's funny that now they'll slam a black person for being clandestine, but then when in 1758, I believe, in Fredericksburg, that was, I think, when the lodge that
George Washington,
in Fredericksburg, became actually affiliated with the Grand Lodge. But the problem is that George Washington white guy,
Mm-hmm.
was a Mason in that lodge before 6 years before, now in
They-
1752,
they
which
were.
means that by definition he was clandestine for 6 years
Mm-hmm.
until they got connected. But nobody jumped down his throat to tell him he was clandestine because, of course, he's a white person. And so, but we'll do it to ourselves.
So what would be where do we need to start as far as black men and women when you're dealing with a individual or one person in regards to this affiliation thing? Because I believe, and I no, it's not what I believe. I know for a fact that most of us take more pride in the fact that we are affiliated than we are members of. So how is it that that mentality can be changed? Is it a Grand Lodge thing where they have to teach their members, or is it a individual thing to where they're going to have to begin to understand that they're part of something bigger than where they're at?
It's one of those things, I think, that exactly what you say. You have to realize that you're part of something bigger, and that and the reason I say that things are different is because when you travel outside of the United States, and when you go to France, and when you go to South America, and when you get invited to international lodges, and you see that they may actually do things differently, but they're brothers, right? They may have a different process, but they're brothers, and they receive you. You know what I'm talking about? But the thing about it is that you learn from some of the ways that they may approach something. And I'll be honest with you, you can go with some of the Filipino brothers that are here and some of the Hispanic brothers that are here. I know we have a lot of lodges that invite us here, and we get together with them, and we'll see how they do a few things a little bit differently. I'm not saying that the core of what they're doing is different, but what I'm saying is that just because of cultural differences, they have some things that they do that are different, and because of that, we actually go like, "Wow, that was cool. We can actually maybe want to incorporate that." Am I right about
We've actually said we wanted to incorporate some of the things that we've seen
because some of it actually brought it made people feel more cohesive. It was more family oriented, but that was part of their culture, right? So the cool thing about it was we had the idea of like, hey, I'd like to bring that, because I think it'll help glue the brotherhood.
So in saying that, do you believe that we have a culture? Black Masons, do we have a culture at all?
Yeah, I believe we have things to offer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, and
blessings. Let's roll. That's it. I said blessings. Good.
I believe that we have things that they like too. And that's what I'm saying, that when we share our ideas and things that we work, that's why they invite us to come.
Right.
That's why we can go to Brazil. That's why we can go to South America. That's why we can go to France. That's why we can go to these other places. And because
here's the thing.
Not only do we respect their methodology, even though their methodology may be different, we know we share the same ideology.
But see, that's the weirdest thing. When you say where we can go, people actually don't believe that we can go there when we've actually been invited. And that's the craziest thing, trying to get people to really understand that, you know, we who are the ancient, free, and accepted Masons have had those invitations, and we do understand that Masonry is bigger than where we at. But the process is how do we get out of the mindset that our affiliation is more important than the membership, and that's the topic tonight. And this is where a brother asked me, would I mind doing that? And it's hard. I'm just looking at that from that point of view. You know,
I think that you know, first of all, I'm not gonna argue somebody down about what I know to be true. And if I know that I have the ability to get up and go to Brazil and have a great time with brothers, that's true. I don't have to argue about it. I don't have to. I like what Dick Gregory said. I don't have to prove myself on things that on truth. Truth is truth. It proves itself.
All right.
Truth is truth. It proves itself. So now, if for some reason that you feel like that's not happening, that's up to you to prove that it's not happening. But I know where I'm going. I know the affiliations we have. I know the good times we have, and I know the people that we're able to sit down and fellowship with.
Right.
And I also know their reasonings and the things that they're not bothered about. And I also know the things that some of the people in the United States may be bothered about. But the reality is that the United States in general is a very unique vehicle. It is built, like Dick Gregory said, on racism, and which means that the people and the power that have the power to actually put you down and hold you down actually utilize that process. I do believe that it is impossible for a person that does not have that power to be racist. So it's like when we say that a black person is not racist, but it is possible for us to be prejudiced. That means we prejudge somebody. But we can't be racist because we don't have the power actually to hold somebody back. So my point is that those affiliations outside of the United States are great affiliations, and the people are great, and they understand. But because a person only functions in Chicago or New Jersey or North Carolina, and that's the only far they've been, I can't help that you just have your belief system of what you think is like outside the United States.
So let me understand this here. So what you're saying is until a person understands
until you travel.
Until you travel and experience that for yourself, the truth, then you will have a better understanding of your affiliation versus being a Mason.
I'm gonna tell you something. A very, very good lesson is if you ever study Malcolm X. Malcolm X was part of the 5% Nation, which I have high respect for. But one of the things that Malcolm X did come to the realization of was that during the time of the civil rights movement, that he really had a teaching that it was engrafted with the idea that it was all about color, black and white. Understand because of it being such a prominent issue in the United States in the 60s. But when he went to Mecca, and he all of a sudden realized that the blacks and whites and all these other people with all multiple different backgrounds all could share Islam. He came back to America with the idea that I have grown. And I realized this was an American idea that was keeping me this way. But now he realized that the definition of Islam was not that, but it was all about peace.
So you're saying, so let me hear this. So I heard you say that his idea of Islam became
he came back to change his methodology. And so he was going to start a school. But he told the people, he said, now I'm only going to open the school up to blacks first because we need to get us straight. But it will soon be opened up to white people.
Right.
But the idea was that he understood that it was about everybody and not just color. That was what he was talking about.
So do you think
within these realms of our borders?
So do you think what I would call Americanized Freemasonry?
But they killed him before he get it going.
So do you think this idea of Americanized Freemasonry that most of us practice hinder us from really grabbing the true understanding of Freemasonry?
I think America itself, which is a beautiful country, but has a tainted history. And the tainted history has an effect on how we approach.
Let me get some water.
Whereas somebody that's in Brazil or in France or however it may be, they don't have that tainted history. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have a tainted history. They don't have a issue, that there's not an issue that they're working with. I don't know, there maybe if I lived there, maybe I would know of their past history. I do know that, like, When I was in Aruba, they got Papiamento as 5 different languages, one of being Dutch. And we already know that Dutch were some of the people that actually introduced slavery. So it's not to say that slavery didn't exist, but I'm saying it's like that's not part of my culture, my history, but it would be part of their culture, which they could inform me about. But what I'm saying is that part of what may hold us back.
Just water right now. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm good. You're good. Okay. Part of what may hold us back has to do specifically with sometimes the environment that we're working in, and what we're allowed to have access to, information that we're allowed to have access to.
But even right now, that's not an excuse, because now we're supposed to be free. We're supposed to be able to travel and to go and to do. But for us now to take advantage of the thing that we so desire to have and that our ancestors so desire to have for us, to me, hinder us, because you can't see beyond where you're at, because you haven't experienced anything beyond where you're at. So once again, you're back to square one. Your affiliation is more important than your membership. How do you get past that? How do you?
Okay, there is this idea that we are free, that you just said. If this way, if I have a son and he grows up in my household, I have rules in my house. And if for some reason he gets to the point that he feels like I don't want to go by your rules anymore, I want to be free, then I can tell him, well, then you have to go outside my house and find your own house. Now, here's the crazy thing. Once he gets outside of my house, then all of a sudden he starts to find out there's another set of rules. I thought you said you were free. Oh, you're free from my rules, but you're not free from another set of rules. Okay, it's kind of like jumping outside of the fence, thinking that all of a sudden you're on the Ponderosa, not knowing the Ponderosa got a big fence all the way around it, but it's about 3 miles out.
Yeah, and it has rules too.
But because you running around and all you see is green grass, you think you're free. But when you run far enough in one direction and you hit a gate, you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's another gate. Well, now, what are you talking about, Brother Hurd? I'm trying to say that, talk to a police officer wrong and let him know and find out how free you are to talk. I mean, you got a First Amendment. You got First Amendment. It's a lot of folks that have been going up to police officers and expressing their opinion. But you go up to an armed police officer in the middle of the night when he had a bad day and tell him, I need to express my opinion tonight. You're free, First Amendment. I mean, you're able to say what you want to say. I mean, but why is it for some reason that we as African Americans end up dead or under the jail or in the jail when that process happens? I said, I thought you were free.
Great point.
So my point is that you have leeway to be able to do certain things,
right?
And with that leeway to do certain things, there's responsibility of now taking care of your way of being able to do it. Okay, so you want to feed yourself. Now, you don't want to be on a plantation anymore. Okay, well, you got to get a job. Yeah, and where you going to get a job from? Because if I don't want to hire you, then you got to create your own job.
Right.
And then you got to go find your own clients. But then you got to go get your own material. But then you got to use your own distribution. And then also you start realizing, wait a minute, I don't have no distribution. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You're free. I don't have no products. I ain't got nothing to do with that either, but you're free. And then also you turn around and you start realizing that, wow, I was a slave and I was free. And now I'm going right back on the plantation again, but now I'm a sharecropper.
You're still a slave, even if you're a sharecropper.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Only because I didn't have the distribution and only because I didn't have the product, but now I'm free, but you're back on the plantation again. All right? So my point is that it's the same thing goes on in the corporate world. And I think that what we have to do is realize that freedom is a relative term.
Mm-hmm.
You know, relative. You're free what compared to what?
You're free compared to what? Okay.
You know, what you free to, what does that mean? What does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you can do what you want to? I don't think you can do what you want to. When you want to, I don't really think that's always the case. You can't do what you want to when you want to. I do think that what you do find is that the more power that you possess,
Mm-hmm.
the more opportunity you're able to create. Now, power, according to Malcolm X, was called a means to a goal. Now, power can be defined in many different ways. Some people call it by capital, meaning that I have money. Some people call it by credit, meaning I have, people on Capitol Hill may not have the money, but they got they can make a phone call. They got the credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can make a phone call and they don't put down $1 million bill like now see R. Kelly was sitting here trying to come up with $1 million bill, but see now if he was the son of like or somebody like that, somebody could just make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't need no cash. But in either case, the means to the goal was to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then for a vast majority of us, neither the phone call nor the money would have been there. So the vast majority of us would have just still been sitting in jail.
Wow.
So it's the ability to create an avenue where you have the power to have an end result
Mm-hmm.
that you're trying to have from that means to a goal. And so that's when you start functioning in that realm with that type of mentality, I think, in my own opinion, that's when you started to expand your level of freedom.
So, just as information, so when does one begin to level of freedom in Freemasonry? Because all jurisdictions have their own rules and regulations which governs their jurisdiction. So is that brother or is that sister limited than where they can go and what they can do because of their jurisdiction limitation upon them? Or do they actually have the right to practice that which is supposed to be a brotherhood?
Well, here's the thing. Truth existed before the affiliation.
Mm-hmm. Truth existed before the affiliation. Okay.
Light existed before the affiliation. If you understand what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
So, in other words, I cannot harness truth and light and say that I control it. Truth and light, according to the membership, is supposed to control me.
Well, but
in other words, like my goal is to seek truth,
mm-hmm.
to seek light,
mm-hmm.
to be to rise to the level of consciousness where I'm a better man than I was before. So it is the truth and the light that's actually affecting me. Mm-hmm. I'm not changing truth. I'm not changing light. Light and truth is changing me. So if my methodology is that I control the cattle, the thing that causes the catalyst, then that means that I'm above it.
Mm-hmm. Why would they kill Malcolm X for trying to convey in such a peaceful way? That was just one of the questions here the brother asked.
Why would they try to kill Malcolm?
They said, why would they kill Malcolm X for trying to convey such a peaceful information about the world? Well, you want to tackle that one?
Well, Malcolm X, the issue was that you had two stories running here. You have a story of a criminal that had become enlightened to that was working toward becoming more and more enlightened mm-hmm. on a self journey, and you had a country that is working very slowly to keep down mm-hmm. A group of people from being enlightened.
Okay.
And the problem is that there was a crossing of the paths, whereas as he is becoming more enlightened, it is revealing more so to everyone else about how we are less of a place for which is of an example to be in life.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is like there was a time when we were telling everybody that no, you need to be like us, you need to do this. And then what happened is China turned around and told us, you can't tell us what to do. Look at how you treat your own people. That was embarrassing.
They did.
They turned
say
around and we had to get that straight. So my point is that in the frustration of America as it was growing, continues to grow, and it continues to expand. It deals with at that time. It was dealing with Martin Luther King. It was dealing with Malcolm X, and it was dealing with Medgar Evers, and all these changes. And there were certain things that it wasn't ready for. And I'm just saying the powers that be weren't ready.
So in saying that, let's apply that to Freemasonry. So do you think the powers that be for the various jurisdictions, do you think they're to really bring Freemasonry full circle, or do you think they like what they have?
You know,
Hi.
how you doing?
How
you doing?
Hey, thank you
how
for
you
getting
doing?
my break.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to jump up here because my lovely wife has come to take me home. But let me say this real quick.
Thank you. I'm gonna wait outside.
You gonna wait outside?
Okay. All right. The Freemasonry has, in my own opinion, Freemasonry has some of the most loving, honest, committed, young and old men that are both wise and been blessed in the craft.
I think you want to speak up and say that again.
I said that Freemasonry has some of the most loving, kind, wise, both young and old men of the craft everywhere. Now, the reality is that we all have our own plight that we're trying to achieve within the craft. And I think that everybody has to accept the honest fact that I don't know everything. And by that mere fact, that means I must have something to learn. But that something is going to be different for every person. And a lot of times it's going to be based on the exposures and the experiences for which you came. You know, so my background of what I came from, I'll be able to help to you, and you'll be
I'll get a
able
little
to
bit
help
more.
to
Go
me.
ahead.
And I think that is how we grow.
Thank you.
Now, how I'm good. Thank you so much. I do think that the approach that we may have taken as far as to realize my inefficiencies and how we said that, you know what, I need help through light and truth came through different methods and through different people. But who am I to say that your method and your approach to getting to truth was wrong? Now, I'm just going to say in our reality, that's similar. What this is similar to, and I'm not saying it's the same, but it's what this is similar to, is this is similar to a God that has an idea about salvation, an idea about wanting to bring a people together, but somebody decides that they're going to approach this God through a idea that they were exposed to through a Catholic
mindset. Okay.
And somebody else through a Baptist mindset, and somebody else through a Presbyterian mindset, and somebody else through a Islamic mindset, all trying to approach this God, right? But the reality is the truth that peace is needed permeates through all of them. The truth that love is needed permeates through all of them. The truth that self-discipline is needed permeates through all of them. But the problem is that one turns to the other and says, because you don't see truth the way I see it, and you weren't introduced to truth the way I was introduced to it, means that you are invalid as an Islamic, or you are invalid as a Christian, or you are invalid as a Jew. And so that mentality
So do you think that plays right into the process of affiliations being more important than the next affiliation?
Because they go,
One taking on, hey, my affiliation, taking on an affiliation process instead of a Masonic process.
yeah, I said, because the reality is that I said, if you really wanted to say, okay, I'm going to hold to the fact of the matter that you can't create something without a charter.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, okay, well then I have to ask you that when the first charter in America, the first charter in America was done, how did they go about deciding who they were going to give another charter to?
Right.
Well, the process was, if you do your research, the process was they would wait 2 to 3 years to see if this is exactly what to see if the lodge that was created was going to survive. If it survived, then they would issue it a charter. What they're basically saying is that we're not going to get a bunch of brothers together to have some good ideas, and they ain't going to stick with the ideas. And they're going to just say, hey, we're going to come together and be this little group in this little club and then fade away. We wanted to see if you're really going to. That's why when you go back and you study and you see where George Washington was a member before he was a part of a
Grand
Lodge, was because the Fredericksburg, they had to prove over a period of time that they were actually going to be sustained. They were going to be. They can stand on their own feet. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, it makes sense. But now, see, some people they would say that would mean that every method during that time would be that you were clandestine until proven that
worthy.
You can stay proven worthy. That's exactly right.
Okay.
So I would say that if you were looking for a pattern in history by fact as to how it was done, then you would have to go back and look to realize that the clandestine process was the process they used in order to define who was going to be a successful lodge and who was not going to be a successful lodge. Because the reality was, it was not about how you came, but it was the fact of where you committed when you came.
Okay. So, Corey, just so you know, the nice topic is dealing with, is your affiliation more important than your membership as far as being a Mason? That's the nice topic. I hope that you're listening and getting something from this, because I'm definitely listening to my brother right here. He has to go and be with his lovely family. I just picked him up from the airport, so it's just going to be me now. So I'll be able to tune in a little bit more. Yeah, pay for it, man. Go on, pay for it. You gonna pay for it?
Okay.
You got it. Hey, membership has its privileges. Hey, thanks, bro. Appreciate it. So look, he just got back from Memphis. I just got back from Mississippi. So we've both been on the road, but it's just good to be able to fellowship with one of your lodge brothers and to pick them up. Travel light. Boy, y'all got me tripping. So it's just good to be able to fellowship with your brothers, of the craft. And I picked him up tonight from the airport, and I told my man, look, I got to go live tonight. He was like, well, let's do it. So I'm here. And tonight's topic is that, is your membership, is your affiliation to your Grand Lodge more important than the membership of being a Freemason? Huh? Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Just push the button.
Yep, push this, that top button right there. Okay.
Bring her back.
All right. And that's the thing we all have to understand. Some of us like to travel, and we see, we see what actually occurs when you travel as a Mason, and it's not based upon your affiliation. Like even when I just come back from Mississippi, I would say this: I enjoy myself with the brothers that I fellowship with, and the fact of the matter is, even though we were both from different affiliations, the respect and love that we have for each other was mutual, and that's the greatest thing about being a part in Masonry. Because Masonry crosses all boundaries. I say it all the time. Until you are able to see that and grow and just venture out for yourself beyond your own affiliation, you'll be forever trapped in a box and not really enjoying the benefit and privileges for which this great fraternity has. And that's just the truth. And some of us are really stuck in the mud on that because we believe that our affiliation is more important than the fact that you are a Mason. Some of us believe that. So I'm going to see if I can catch some of these questions here because I have been up and down tonight. Let's see. Let's see if I can get something here. I'm sorry for this tonight, gentlemen. I had to, see what was happening. And I'm just going back. Yes, sir. Rest in peace to, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, definitely. All is well to everybody. I appreciate everybody coming on tonight. Peace and blessings to all family that are here tonight. I'm just kind of getting into the groove of thing. I'm out having a late breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to call it, with one of my brothers from the class, and and just really enjoying a good fellowship. Should have been home, but this is what I got right now. So definitely, I'm looking for the journey along this thing we call Freemasonry. I think that once we all begin to see it for what it really is, we can really begin to enjoy it. I mean, and that's the truth of the matter. I believe personally my membership as a Mason is more important than my affiliation. Even if I was a member of Prince Hall Grand Lodge, I believe I'd be expelled right about now. I believe that. If I was a member of PHA, I would be expelled because I'm not that person to be set idly by and allow someone to tell me where I can and can't go as a Mason. I'm not that guy. So, and I don't know how other jurisdictions may view that. I don't, but I do know that, including mainstream, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a member there because I know who I am and I know my worth. So I wouldn't be the one that sit idly by and you tell me I can't go this way and I can't go here. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it because it's not in me. If you tell me I'm part of this great fraternity order and you tell me all the things all that it is and worth, and then when I go venture out and I see something different and you tell me where I can't go, it doesn't work like that. You can't tell me that. I don't. Some of you may say, well, Brother Hawkins, those are the rules. Those are the rules for your jurisdiction. It's true enough. And I respect that. But as a Mason, I refuse to be limited on who I can talk to in regards to about Masonry and where I can go as a Mason. I just refuse to be limited. That's just me. And it's probably a blessing why I'm here where I'm at, And I would tell you, even in your own jurisdiction, wherever you may be at, enjoy it, but also realize that there are other fraternal orders out there besides where you're at.
Can't get in.
You couldn't get in?
Yeah.
Maybe you did something wrong. That I'm sorry, that one right there. That one right. That one right. Yep. Says unlocked.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that's what we have to get it at. And that's the truth. If you can't get it from there, then it's going to be a sad state. We have to be able to move forward and to realize that being a Mason is more important than being part of a particular Grand Lodge. That's my own opinion. That's from studying Freemasonry. You may come out with your opinion in regards to studying Freemasonry. And I encourage every brother, please, whatever you do, find literature that's going to enlighten you. Find literature that's going to uplift you. And when you're able to do that, things that come across your desk, things that come across in your life, you'll be able to soak that up. You won't be just so, it'll expand your knowledge instead of limiting, the little bit you have. It is very important to pick up different books on Freemasonry and to read them. It is very important. But if all you ever want to do is take where you're at and think that where you at is the truth, then you're lost. If you believe where you at right now, is that it? Was that right? All right, appreciate it. Okay. We'll see. Okay. If you think where you at is the truth, you're not going to get it. If you think where you at is all there is and it's the truth, you're sadly mistaken. Because I don't believe exactly where I'm at It's all there is. It's bigger than that. This is the beauty of it. This is why I like traveling. This is where I get um, my enthusiasm in regards to being a Mason, because I know when I go to these various places and jurisdictions and lodges, it's genuine. It is truly genuine. Greeting, Brother Shaheed. Greeting everybody that's coming on. Malcolm Prophet, what's up? He says Africans are beautiful and dangerous with wisdom applied to travel and rejoice. He said to travel and rejoice. To travel and rejoice is better of the power and be the example of life. Oh, appreciate that. So, that's where it's at tonight. My conclusion, and I hope that you would kind of look at this for yourself, is that being a Mason, and to the sisters, being an Eastern Star is more important than your affiliation. That's the conclusion. And if that's not your conclusion, and you're basing the fact that your affiliation is more important, then you have to do a lot of reading. You're gonna have to do a lot of traveling in your Masonic life to get another perspective. Because if that's the only perspective that you're gonna hold on to, you have a right to change your mind. There are some things I've been told in life, and as I gotten older, I found that it wasn't necessarily truth. It wasn't a fact. Changed my mind. I know that we often say that the love of money is the root of all evil. Is it? Is the love of money the root of all evil? I don't think so. That's not what the Bible says. It's not what it says. So, do you. And as I get ready to conclude tonight, I hope that everybody's gotten some out of this conversation. Tell the brother, is your affiliation more important than your membership? Oh yeah. We definitely I've enjoyed. Oh, okay. Traveling, man, how you been? Haven't been a member of an irregular jurisdiction. In a regular jurisdiction, I'll say the affiliation is what matters when it comes to membership. Traveling, man, I appreciate that, and that's your opinion. That's what you've come up with, and that's great. I just think that it is not my affiliation, but more so that I'm a Mason, because I know that in my travels, it wasn't my affiliation that gave me the privilege of another brother. It was the fact that I was a Mason that I received the privilege of another brother. I'm going to say this again. In my travels, it wasn't the fact that my jurisdiction from which I was a part of, that the brother saw fit to extend his hand. It was the fact that I was a Mason that the brother saw fit to extend his hand. It was just that plain and simple. It had nothing to do with my affiliation or jurisdiction. It had more so to do with the fact that I was a Mason. That is a fact. That's based on fact, not just my opinion. That is based upon fact. And if you believe that your jurisdiction is where it's at, is that based on fact, or is it based on your opinion? I'm not taking opinions. I'm taking facts, things that have actually happened because I was a Mason. I found favor from a brother or even a sister. The fact that I was a Mason. It wasn't based upon my jurisdiction, not at all. And I'm quite sure some of you have seen the same thing. The days of token Freemasonry are coming to an end. The divide will not last another 40 or 50 years. More Masons are becoming conscious and realizing that the brotherhood goes deeper. So true, Joseph. Joseph Wise, man, that is factual. And I don't know if I'm gonna be here another 40 or 50 years, or maybe even tomorrow, but that is going to be the joy of everything. The mere fact that when brothers and sisters wake up and realize that this thing is deeper than what we pick up in a ritual, And when you're able to grasp that, that is the catalyst that pushes Freemasonry. That's the catalyst. Did I just freeze up? I don't know. Just froze up for a second. But yeah, that is certainly the catalyst that pushes us. Explain what you mean by token. Don't, Brother Joseph, you don't have to explain what you mean by token. I mean, if you're a Freemason, you certainly know what he meant by when he said that. You know, I believe we are born Masons, not affiliated, not affiliation. You know what? That's deep for you to say that you believe that we were born Masons and not necessarily through our affiliation. That's a deep one, bro. You know what? Did you bring me back my keys? That's a deep one. And that's something totally to give some thought to. You know, because a lot of brothers who are necessarily been initiated into the craft are not even worthy. Some sisters who have been initiated into the Order of the Eastern Star are not worthy. They're not. But you are right, Malcolm. Some of us are born Masons and Eastern Stars and don't even realize it until they become actual members of the order and of the craft. Then they grab it. You know? So, yeah, certainly. I certainly agree with that. To the east, you know, definitely. And I just want to say how much I appreciate everybody for coming on tonight. You know, I just gotten back from vacation, and it's a little change of time. It's about a 3-hour difference, 2-hour difference, depends on where you're at on the East Coast. And boy, was it raining! Oh my goodness, you know. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope everybody's gotten some out of this conversation tonight. I know I certainly have. Listen to Brother Hurd, who was here with me this evening. You know, it's always a joy to fellowship with the brothers of the craft. It's definitely that. The reason I feel the way I do is because I agree with the position taken by the majority of the craft, as well as the legal stance that legitimacy of origin is what makes one a Mason. No, it doesn't. Legitimacy of the legitimacy of origin is not what makes one a Mason. It's not. Go back and read your ritual and see what makes you a Mason. It's in your ritual. It's in the first degree. It is one of the very questions that is asked of you out of your Q&A. Come on now. You know, if that being, you know, that's no. Traveler, the traveler man, you know, I like your comment, but that's not true. The origin of your legitimacy doesn't make you a Mason. It doesn't. That's not in the standards of Freemasonry. It doesn't say that in any ritual. It doesn't say that. Because first of all, that's not where you was prepared to be a Mason. That's not where you was first made a Mason. Okay? No. Your origin, we like to throw the origin thing in there. But the origin is not based upon your ritual and not based upon the fact if you're traveling as a Mason. If you've ever sincerely traveled as a Mason, you should know this. It's not about your affiliation when you leave this country. It's only in this country that we have that issue. Most of us based our membership upon our affiliation instead of taking and realizing that you're part of something bigger than your affiliation. So this is where we come to a crossroads. You know, I can agree to disagree, but I'm not going to disrespect the fact that you put out a very interesting point of view. It is your point of view. I can respect that. Let's see what else we got. Do you feel the affiliation can dictate characters? No. Nope, I don't. just got in the chat. Greetings, brothers. Just getting okay. All right, brother Matt. What? Welcome aboard. I'm just catching up. I understand the ritualistic answer, but in order to be healed to the ritualistic answer, one must belong to a Masonic body, as defined by Masonic stance and stated above. Okay, let's get into this then. Where was you first prepared to be a Mason? Now, in a legal and just and lawful constituted lodge of Masons. What makes a lodge legal and what makes a lodge just? Well, legal meaning working up under a grand lodge which issues a charter to that lodge. A just lodge is having the amount of members to open, whether it be a fellow craft, inner apprentice, or a master mason. Now, that's the standard protocol. Okay, now when you get into this origin thing, now you're saying, well, my Grand Lodge received its charter from such and such and such and such, or we are recognized by such and such and such and such. Every Grand Lodge that I know is recognized by another sitting Grand Lodge. Okay, there's no pure authority on Masonic Grand Lodge. There's no, you show me where it says this Grand Lodges, this particular Grand Lodge rules all other Grand Lodge on the setting of the craft. There's no Grand Lodge that rules another Grand Lodge. All Grand Lodges are sovereign and they rule themselves, and they're able to recognize who they choose to recognize. If the California Grand Lodge chooses to recognize John G. Jones as a legitimate Grand Lodge according to their standards, poof, there it is. If John G. Jones chooses to recognize the Grand Lodge of California according to our standards, poof, there it is. There's a process. Now, if we don't choose to recognize each other, that doesn't say I'm less than a Mason than he is. It doesn't say that at all. It just says according to our own rules and regulations that we're not able to sit and lodge together. It doesn't take away from the fact that one is a Mason versus the other one. It doesn't take anything from that person. So let's have a clear understanding on that, because as sure as daylight comes, and it will come, I'm just as much a Mason than anybody else, regardless of your jurisdiction. You are just as much a Mason as I am, regardless of your jurisdiction. And that's a fact. That's not an assumption. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Period. Because brothers who are international feel the same way. Brothers who are Prince Hall feel the same way. So for us to say that they're less than is totally against protocol of Freemasonry. It is no. Mm-mm. That's why I was always taught to keep a brother on the first. The first is a beautiful indeed. It is. For an example, I am a Kappa, but if I join an organization that just called itself Kappa, and I took the same obligation as a Kappa, I would feel I wasn't a real Kappa. Okay? Now, I pledge Beta. I have a friend who's a Sigma Phi Beta, all right? And in the frat that I joined is really on the East Coast, okay? Whereas Phi Beta Sigma is all around. Omega is all around. Kappa is all around in all the states for the most part. I don't feel less than. If you felt less than, then that you have an issue with yourself. But I understand the concept of you making that, you know, if you join a group that was Kappa and then there was another group that was Kappa and you join one versus the other.
You folks doing okay over here?
You either, if one calls themselves Kappa and you went that way and you became a Kappa through them, you became a Kappa through them. They consider you to be a Kappa, period. So how do I become a member of the... Okay. My God has many Uncle Toms. Do we have an free... Oh, my goodness. My God. How many Uncle Toms do we have in Freemasonry? Some of you are not acting free, but like slaves. You need your master to tell you you are a Mason. I was always a Mason, by birth and by ritual. Well, Joseph, you answered that for yourself. Great answer. When I an apprentice into Hosea Lodge number 7, Ancient Free and Accepted Mason, that's when I became a Mason. Period. It had nothing to do with the affiliation. It had everything to do with the initiation and the rights, privileges, and the benefits of being a Mason. That's what it had. It had nothing to do with the affiliation. Okay, now once I began to mature into Freemasonry and became a Mason and became a Master Mason, I understood the different affiliations. Even before I became a Mason, I understood the different affiliations. But this particular lodge for which I'm in was a little bit tad different, you know, because of the brothers in the craft at the time who said, look, this is how we practice Freemasonry versus somebody else that you may come across. And I've learned that, and I take that, and it holds true today. Good evening. Good evening. Are they in Memphis? Oh yeah, yeah. There's a Grand Lodge in the Ancient Free and Accepted Mason that's in Memphis. Sure is. Hey, I'm done with my book. As far as the Ancient Free and Accepted Masons are concerned, I would tell you this: in the constructs of the 5 to 6 General Grand Masonic Congresses, there are over 160 Masonic Grand Lodges among the Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. That's just a fact. That's from what that's what we have gathered together. It's completed. I showed it in my last video. A couple of videos ago, I showed it that it's a complete book. It's about maybe 30 to 40 pages. We have listed over 160 Grand Lodges from 6 General Grand Masonic Congresses. Each Congress having an average of 15 to 20 some Grand Lodges across the United States. And I love doing that research with some of my brothers, and I'm glad to say that we have completed that information. If you want a copy, you're going to have to email me and let me know. My email address is hosealodge at yahoo.com. That is HOSEALODGE at yahoo.com. I will get back with you as soon as I can. I definitely will do that. My apologies if I don't get back with you sooner, because I get busy. And just like tonight, I wasn't for sure I was going to be able to come on live tonight, but we got off to a rocky start. But we're here now. So let's say that. Let's see what else we got. Are you a star? And if so, do you speak upon the Constitution and obligation? Yes, I'm an Eastern Star also. The Eastern Stars have their landmarks. If I'm not mistaken, there are 15 landmarks for the Eastern Star. And in regards to their Constitution and obligation, what do you want to know, Sister Parker, in regards to, is that a sister or brother Parker? In regards to the Constitution obligation. I'm good right now. I appreciate it. Water would do me. No, I got water right here.
Okay.
All right, thank you. What would you like to know in regards to the constitutional obligation of the Eastern Star? I would look at my organization like it is just like another frat. So when it comes to Masonry, I look at those organizations just as another fraternity. I look at Modern Free the same as I would a Kappa. Okay. Thank you, brother, for the information. Peace and love. Chicago has at least 30 themselves. I believe that. I believe that. I have worked as a real Mason on the work sites and have carried stones. I can tell you from experience, the only guys tripping over 3-letter and 4-letter is Black Masons. White Mason Masonic bodies don't indulge in such. That's a fact. That is a fact. I would certainly agree with that, and that is in my own personal experience. We're the only someone who deals in the fact whether you be 3 or 4 letter, and that is not how we're supposed to carry ourselves or even act. But that is a mindset. That is something that has been taught throughout the Masonic affiliations, as we talk about tonight. This is why we are where we're at, and we can't respect nor join forces and do anything is because of the mindset of 3 letter, 4 letter, which is totally bullshit, which is totally has us sitting in a place of do nothing, because we talk about who we are, but we don't do nothing with the fact of who we are. You talk about being a Mason, but you do nothing with it. Do you help anybody? Do you move anything? Do you make a difference as being a Mason? You know, and if you can't make a difference by being a Mason, you call yourself a Mason, then you're useless. You know, don't mean to sound so harsh, but I get tired of how we are pitted against each other. I should not be pitted against my brother because he is Prince Hall or she is Prince Hall. I should not be pitted against my brother because they're modern, free, or international. She is modern, free. I should not be pit against you. But because we practice this Americanized type of Freemasonry, we are at each other all the time. And this is why your affiliation is not important as being a Mason. Being a Mason is more important than your affiliation, because you're going to leave your affiliation and you're going to actually go travel and do and be. And it's going to be based upon the fact whether they found you worthy and well qualified. Period. That's a fact. And if they're looking at your affiliation to say whether you're a Mason or not, then they're going against against their own obligation. They're going against their obligation. That's the truth. They're going against that. So they're missing out. Sis. Oh, okay. Just wanted to soak in whatever discussion matters about the OES, nothing particular. I'm from Chicago. Okay. All right. So, sis, in regards to the Order of the Eastern Star and their obligation is very important, because it is just like even with the brothers in our obligation. You know, you're obligated in such a way that, you know, you are supposed to abide by that obligation, you know, because it is essential to the craft and to the sisterhood. You know, that is what's important. Do you take that and abide by your obligation and your oath, which is your obligation as a member of the Eastern Star, include certain things in detail, you know, and I'd rather not say it here. But when you're able to take that and apply it across the board to the sisterhood, it becomes a beautiful sisterhood. But when you can't do it, then it's worthless. When you cannot apply your obligation across the board in the sisterhood, it's useless. Peace. It's truth. It's just truth.
All right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Oh, she put it out there for you. White Masons don't use 3 and 4 letters. I belong to a white lodge. They leave those organizations. They do. He just, yeah. Okay. Oh, if they felt the same way as Prince Hall does, why don't they speak on it? Since you remember their brother, Traveling Man, if they felt the same way as Prince Hall, why don't they speak on it? That's the truth. You remember? If they felt that way and you saying they do, why don't they speak on it? Because I know the Grand Lodge in California, I've spoken to the brothers about this very issue. And they said they're not going to touch it because that's not what Masonry is all about. This is what they've told me. This is based upon their their rules, their regulation, their constitution. They don't deal in such matters. That's a fact. Okay? Let's see. Most of them just don't know enough about those organizations to public speak on them. Oh, come on now. Come on now. They know. You ask them about John G. Jones. They know. They know. Trust me, they know. Come on, they don't. They know. They have you. They have you. They can talk to you about them. You can give your opinion. But until they find someone who's actually a member of those particular organizations, invite them to sit down at the table and talk to them. It don't have to be in no large meeting. If you want to know about somebody, invite them to your home. If you want to know about somebody, invite them to dinner and talk to them. Then you learn about them. But to take somebody else's opinion about somebody is crazy. That's some bogus stuff right there. For me to take an opinion of another man about another man instead of going to that person and talking to them personally, I don't know. I could be missing out on some stuff because people like to give bad information about other people. That's what they do. The Negroes in Sanctuary Line embody. Even when you go to college, Negroes act the same way. In Islam, the same thing. In church, the same thing. Back. Oh my goodness. My chapter in Lodge 3 and 4. We come together for low. Oh, that's great. Now that's what it's supposed to be all about. That is the beauty of the organization. When you can do that, Sister Parker, that's a great thing. That's a great thing when you can do that. Where else we at? She in Chicago. Yes, sir. I visited the Europe Lodge out here in my city, and they're under the California Grand Lodge. Welcome me as an ancient, free, and accepted brother. Always willing to be tried. Yeah, you did, Brother Shaheed. You did do that. You did visit as a member of the ancient, free, and accepted Mason. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're killing me tonight, Brother Shaheed. Oh, you're killing me. Well, look, I'm gonna get ready to go, gentlemen and sisters. At Traveling Man, why did you leave? If I may ask, I'm Prince Hall, just curious. Peace, brothers, from the sun and the moon and stars. Come to Chicago, modern in the Mystic Lodge of the ancient, free, and accepted Masons. Wow, that's a new one right there. Okay. Modern and Mystic Lodge. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Man, I'm gonna get ready to turn it down tonight. I hope that everybody's gotten something from this great conversation. And I look forward to coming back on Tuesday at a better time. I'm really trying to get every other day come on at least by 7 o'clock the latest. That's what I really want to try to do. And I appreciate those who definitely hit me up and let me know, hey, you know what, you need to come on. I appreciate that. I just get busy and I just get, life. So look, with that being said, I'm going to get ready to go. I hope that each of you have gotten some out of this here. And a Traveling Man said he was driving 80 miles every month to my lodge in Detroit. My schedule did not allow me to make it if there was there for 3 years. So I found, okay, all right, that's that. So look, I gotta go. Brother Prophet, you're gonna have to become a Mason, brother. You all right with me, Brother Prophet. I appreciate that. So tonight, as I conclude, I wish everybody traveling grace, blessings, and peace to your family and loved ones. Thank you very much for tuning in.